Hello, everybody, and indeed, welcome to another edition of Who's Your Hometown Heroes. I'm Tony Val, and today my guest is Jim Liston. Jim is the founder of Catholic Business Exchange here in Indianapolis. Jim is a returning guest, and I hope you enjoy our conversation. Who's Your Hometown Heroes is sponsored by Prometheus Consulting. Prometheus is Indy's most trusted name in outsourced IT support. Jim, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, you're very welcome, Tony. Great seeing you.
Yes, good to see you again. As I said in the intro, you're a returning guest. We go way back. Something I thought of asking you, Jim, that I don't think I've ever asked you in the past. I'm curious to hear what made you decide to start up Catholic Business Exchange in the first place.
Well, good question. 20 years ago, I was knee-deep in sales and self-employed as I always have been, and went to a variety of different wonderful networking events, but they all were kind of the same. It was, what can you do for me right now? Kind of an instant gratification approach. And again, nothing wrong with that. Everyone likes to make a sale on the spot. But I just kind of got tired of that format and decided to do something a little bit different, which would include my faith. Still getting the job done, bottom line with business. I wanted business leads. I wanted opportunities to talk to people like everyone does. But I knew there was just a better way for me to approach business networking. And so just kind of launched Catholic Business Exchange with the mantra of a three-legged stool with faith, friendship, and business in that order. Faith first, meet people on a faith-based basis, whether they're Catholic or non-Catholic, but they're a believer of some sort. Develop a friendship with that person, and then approach them to say, hey, we kind of got to know each other. I know where you worship, and I know that you know two or three of my friends, and vice versa. Why don't we sit down and have a cup of coffee? And so I use the analogy of an accordion, squeezing the accordion in, an accordion of trust, so to speak. And if you get to know somebody outside of what their business card says, it just makes it a lot easier and a lot more fun to sit down for a cup of coffee with somebody, because there's a trust factor that's already been built in. And anybody who's in business knows it's trust first and sales second. And so we just struck on something. That was just what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, it's great that you had, that first inspiration to do it. And I know I've been a member for many, many years, so I know it's a long-standing group for sure. And speaking to this idea of, having something in common with someone and making business networking a little bit easier. I had coffee with a CBE member just last week for the first time with this particular member. And it's just so nice to you're not starting out from square one when you're meeting with a fellow Catholic and a fellow CBE member. You already know that you share a very similar kind of view of the world. You have similar interests. Certainly, you share the same faith. So it's really helpful to network that way. So job well done.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's been the consistency, Tony, as people ask me what has been some of our success. It's been showing up. It's been the consistency. There's groups in town that meet, they get off on a roaring start, and then all of a sudden their meetings start faltering, or they take the summer off, or they take the holidays off, or whatever. And one of the things we've done, good or bad or indifferent, Tony, is we've been consistent. We meet once a month. You may be on vacation, you may be on a convention, you may be doing a lot of other things with an important client, but we will be there every once a month to break bread and to have a Catholic service to have a chance to network, to hear a wonderful speaker and have a wonderful breakfast all in one setting. And so, again, for 20 years, we've been consistent, and it's proven to be working for us anyway.
Absolutely. Um, is it true, or isn't it true that you don't necessarily have to be Catholic to join the organization, correct?
No, the name would infer that, but we market primarily, Tony, to the Catholic parishes and the schools. But it's open to anyone. In fact, we have 150 members, men and women, and there's probably 5 members that are not Catholic. They are Christian and they go to different denominations, churches, which is perfectly fine. And anybody, you yourself or myself, can invite anybody who's not Catholic to come. And it may not be their cup of tea. They may not necessarily come for the Catholic Mass service at the beginning, but they'll come for the networking and the camaraderie and the speaker. So, no, it's open to Catholic men and women, but also non-Catholic men and women who want to combine a little bit of faith with their business initiatives.
Very good. And we have a members only meeting coming up in February, as we do every month. Why don't you talk a little bit about how the members only meetings work and kind of what do members get out of those meetings?
Sure, sure. We kind of run out of time to do a lot of B2B, business to business networking at the monthly meetings because of the speaker, et cetera. And so for those people who want to step up their game and become a member of Catholic Business Exchange, and I'd encourage your listeners and your viewers to go to our website, which is www.catholicbusinessexchange.org, and they can sign up to get part of our email campaigns and messages on our monthly meetings. But in addition to the monthly opportunities, Tony, we have exclusive member only meetings 6 times a year. And those are truly business to business. We don't have necessarily a speaker, we have topics and they're business related. And so coming up, we have a great opportunity for people to bring in writing, by the way, their business needs for 2025. And why is that important? Because all the research says that we only capture about 20% of what somebody tells us. So if you write it down and you pass it around, there's a good chance that somebody will say, I have to get back with Tony because something he said, I can help him meet that need. You're not going to remember everything that somebody says. And so it's going to be a great exercise for all of us, including yours truly, to put in writing what I want to get accomplished in 2025. Telling people that is a great start, but it's a deliberate opportunity for people to, and I'm going to make copies, and I'm going to encourage you when you come to make copies for everybody in attendance. That way they can take it home and at their leisure, they can get back and read what you need. And you may get a lead or an opportunity to meet somebody 30 days from now that you never would get just from the spoken word.
Very nice. And I will attest to the fact, Jim, that when I leave the members only meeting, I always feel like, boy, I really got something out of this. It's the way I view those meetings, Jim, is it's our opportunity to kind of have you coach us through business development, professional development, and those meetings are just very, very helpful.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. And like I said, if anybody that's watching would like to know more information about, even if they just want to come and I call it kick the tire, come to one of our breakfast meetings and see if it's your cup of tea. And if you ever want to become a member, which you never have to be, you may want to see the benefits of having a membership opportunity for you to grow your business, including your faith and your friendship. But I would like to emphasize again, Tony, some of the things we do are deliberate. And let me give you a couple examples. We recently, outside of the meetings, we do other things in the community. One of which is we just got done with Festival of Trees downtown at the Indiana Historic Society. There's 95 trees that adorn the Historic Society building, a beautiful building on the canal. And we have a tree for the third year that is themed as a nativity tree. And we always get rave reviews for it. We have a wonderful lady who designs the tree for us. But this year we did something different. In addition to our theme, which was the true meaning of Christmas, we also put a QR code on our sign for the tree. And the whole intent was for somebody to be going back and say, oh, Catholic Business Exchange, never heard of it, didn't know there was one around. So we got multiple emails from that QR code. And literally, there are two people who never would have came to one of our meetings are coming this month just because we deliberately put a QR code in there. So that's just one quick example of trying to be deliberate. And even our speakers, Tony, when they come in and speak to us, I always ask the speakers, look, we love being entertained for 20 minutes, but really I want you to leave us with some action steps. What is it what's your message, but what can we do with your message? And so I even encourage the speakers, Tony, to put something down in writing and leave it in front of us at the table so that the people who were entertained can then say, okay, he gave me 3 or 4 challenges on how to take action in my community. I've got it written down then and only then. So it's a deliberate attempt to make you better
Yes.
and kind of get out of the way of yourself, so to speak.
Yes. And it occurs to me that I think an overarching theme in CBE, or at least the overarching approach, really it goes back to the three-legged stool. We're really focusing on faith and friendship first. And what sets CBE meetings apart from any other networking meeting that I can think of is we don't start out with what do you do? Here's what I do. It's not so in your face business development oriented. And I really wish everyone could experience this approach, because I think many biz dev people would be doubtful that this type of approach can be so effective. But if you get to know someone as a person first, get to know their values, get to know what makes them tick. You're always preaching to us. One of my favorite Jim Liston terms is, this is not amateur hour. So do things like learn where someone is from. Where did you grow up? What parish do you go to? And it really is amazing to see that by the time it comes around to someone has a need, someone needs to do business, they already have an affinity for you. Everyone naturally understands, what we do in the way of, what our profession is, and business just kind of naturally flows. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, well, thank you. And it brings me to remind the viewers out there that when you come to one of our meetings, your name tag says your name and where you worship. It doesn't say what you do 8 to 5. And we've done that again deliberately from day one, Tony, that I wanted somebody that, let's say they were in real estate and they were a CPA and they met somebody who was a CPA, but their best friend was a CPA, that it would diminish the opportunity for him to have an open mind to getting to know that person. So rather than, okay, this is what you do 8 to 5, this is what I do, again, that's true vanilla. Everybody does that in most networking circles, and that's okay, but it's not as good as getting to know somebody outside the lines of what their business card does or what puts food on the table. That you'll get to that, but it's not the first and most important thing with Catholic Business Exchange. It's faith, get to know somebody as a friend, then and only then is there room, maybe an opportunity for them to either buy a product or sell a product or give them a lead to somebody who can
Yeah.
use their services because everybody can't buy from everybody. It's just
Yes.
that simple. And it's a numbers game, as callous as that sounds. And I'm just a big believer the more people you get to meet, get in front of, the luckier you get. It's just, anybody in sales will tell you that. If you only have 3 appointments a week, most of the time you're going to starve. You need to have daily meetings with people, and
Yeah.
how do you get in front of people on a favorable basis? And that's what we try to do.
Absolutely. Um, I'm curious. I'm sure over the years, many, many times you'll meet a fresh business development person, someone maybe right out of college. Do you have maybe one or two things that you always like to emphasize in the way of giving someone like that advice?
You mentioned about somebody just starting their career, Tony.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, don't be worried about just being the newest kid on the block. There's advantages to that. Okay. And I always am thrilled when younger people or people just starting in business come to one of our meetings because it's it's refreshing. And I always say, I was your age at one point, and the fact that you're showing up and 90% of success is showing up, that draws me toward that person. I want to help them because we've all been there and done that. So I said, never be apologetic about just starting your business. We've all been there, and we know how tough it is to get one foot in front of the other. And so that's my simple first step with them, is saying thank you for being here. That's very courageous of you to come into a room of strangers, so to speak. But wonderful things happen when people show up, and just be yourself. Don't try and be anybody. Don't try and be an expert when you in your heart know you're not. And people love honesty, saying, I just started, but I'm excited about the business that I'm in. That'll excite me to hear more about you, right?
Yes, absolutely. I want to make sure, Jim, that we talk about another one of these kind of extra things you do, a really big part, I think, of your yearly routine. I want to talk about Project Nativity Scene. Can you share with the folks what that program is all about and a little bit of its history?
Yeah, we just kind of thought about the idea a few years ago. I'm a cradle Catholic, and I always wanted an outdoor nativity scene, and voila, 6 years ago we bought one, put it in our front yard, and the response from the neighbors was outstanding. And I just casually mentioned it at a members only meeting. Wouldn't it be great if we could make Indiana the outdoor nativity scene capital of the United States? And we just started from a dead start, and we
Hmm.
had 10 schools and 10 churches that took part the first year. And bottom line, 4 years later, um, we have sold 4,600 outdoor nativity scenes that would never have been, Tony, in somebody's front yard,
Yes.
just because of somebody having kind of a simple idea, but it clicked with people. And so it's allowed us to evangelize what we're here on earth for, and that is to do as much good as you possibly can, but have the true meaning of Christmas. So it's been a win-win. We're getting the evangelization out in the front yards, but it also allows a school or a parish to make some money for their ministry of their choice. So um, Project Outdoor Nativity Scene, we're off and running for 2025, and we're hoping to sell 2,000 of these kits next fall. So
Tremendous.
we're
Tremendous.
we're excited. We're excited.
Yeah. Now these kits will last year to year. They're built to last, and so people use them year after year.
They're made in the good old US of A up in Michigan, and I've had mine in my front yard in these horrible Indiana weather winters, and it looks brand new. I mean, these things are built to last. And I can tell people we have not, Tony, there's been 4,600 of these sold. We have had zero requests for return of product.
Wow.
We have not had one person say, this was not well built and I want my money back. So that just screams volumes of how great these nativity kits are. And so we're real pleased with the manufacturer and so happy that all these schools and parishes can benefit both evangelizing but also making some good money along the way.
Absolutely. Jim, let's share the website again, just in case anyone is interested in coming to the meeting with the website and any other contact information you want to
Yep,
share.
you bet. It's www.catholicbusinessexchange.org, or you can email me at jliston@catholicbusinessexchange.org, or my cell phone is 317-590-5403.
Very good. Very good. Well, wonderful. I would encourage anyone to feel free to join us. I want to thank you again, Jim, for all that you do. CBE is, for anyone in a biz dev role, getting back to what you said, consistency. CBE is just always there, always ready. If you're ready to work it, it's there ready to work for you.
We'd love to have some new faces, and we'll make sure that you are warmly welcomed at the meeting, and you'll get a chance to meet other great people around the city. So, Tony, thank you for allowing me to be part of your great podcast.
Absolutely, Jim. Okay, we will see you next time. Take care.
All right, thank you.